Welcome to another video of best practices. This is 5th grade, Unit 12, Fractions as Division. Here's a cute little dog meme to hopefully make you laugh. This unit is all about, you guessed it, fractions, specifically understanding fractions as division. In this unit, students will be using fractions to represent division problems. They will be applying this to real-world problems involving both fractions and mixed numbers. So what might student learning look like in the classroom? Well, students should be making visual models using area models, maybe even fraction tiles or fraction circles to help build their concrete knowledge of representing a fraction as a division problem. Students will also justify their answer by checking with multiplication and in Explore 2, interpreting the leftover as the remainder. If you are using these strategies, these are all examples of MTR 1, 2, and 7. So of course, it is always important that students are discussing their learning throughout this unit. So we should be asking questions that encourage students to use their vocabulary and think about the actions within the problem. So for example, taking a whole and splitting it into fractional parts in order to see how fractions and division can be the same thing. Similarly, when discussing dividing a smaller number by a larger number, it is important that students are realizing that the quotient is a fraction or part of the whole. Of course, students are also encouraged to use manipulatives to build concrete knowledge, so asking how they use them is beneficial. We can also ask students how fractions can relate to division, and more specifically, what the fractions in their model and the problems that they are solving represent. So they should finally be able to see that their answer is a fraction when the quotient is less than a whole, and it might be a mixed number if there is a remainder. So these questions and others can be found in the math chat section of STEMscopes. Here's a list of the key vocabulary teachers and students should be using within this unit. And again, these can be found in the STEMscopes parent letter. There are many ways students can demonstrate their knowledge within this unit, so they should be using visual models such as this one to show their equation and also checking it with the inverse operation, which is multiplication. They should also use models to understand what the remainder is. So remember, this standard is focused on real-world problems, so using many examples like this one here is necessary. These all represent MTRs 2, 6, and 7. Here are some questions that come from Math Smarts that you can use as a teacher or an administrator or even a parent to ask to gauge understanding. For example, how are division and fractions related? If students are truly understanding this idea that a fraction is the same thing as a division problem, they will be able to answer these questions. It is also important to have students think about what they're noticing as they work through these problems, because it is different than what they're used to from previous grades where they're always dividing a larger number by a smaller number, and of course focusing on those real-world scenarios. Here's an example from the STEMscopes parent letter of an engaging task you can do at home with your child in order to help them understand situations in which division is important. So this uses a can and is split among, say, 4 family members, but you could also try this with smaller objects, such as sharing one sandwich or one candy bar with the family to help build on that understanding of using a fraction as a division equation, especially when dividing a smaller number by a larger number. So hopefully after teaching Unit 12, your students will have figured this out on their own and won't be as frustrated as Dr. Phil. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!